if you're going to watch this video, I'd like you to pay attention and think about what it is that works for you. Are you looking for information? Are you looking for philosophy, perspectives, personal sharing? What I receive, I transmit, you receive, you transmit. Feedback. A positive feedback loop, which doesn't mean you have to always give positive comments, although I would prefer likes to dislikes, of course. Could be an exercise in narcissism. There's always going to be that element. Nobody puts themselves out on YouTube unless they're enlightened without an element of narcissism. Where I left off last time was with the God word. I have a friend called Phil Snyder, I haven't spoken to in ages. He says even if there was a God, he wouldn't believe in him. Something similar to how my brother felt. I don't think he ever put it quite that starkly. He might have done it even. Might have even said it word for word. Nietzsche said that he found it hard to believe in a God that demanded praise constantly. I would agree with that sentiment to some degree. I also understand where Phil's coming from, and I have felt similar. The God as a concept that's been passed down to me. Of course, I was raised to despise religion, so I don't have a clean slate by any means, but has always seemed somewhat objectionable. Not worth believing in, even if it were real. But there's obviously an inherent contradiction in that. Although it does account for the appeal of Gnosticism, which allows for a God that shouldn't be believed in, a demiurge, a petty despot of a God, which I think matches many of our views about God, the concept, the religious orthodox view of God, in this postmodernist world that we live. Obviously, the notion of God and the worship of God began, well, let's be charitable and say it began with direct revelation, but as it became more organized and more second-hand, then it was primarily a case of people's projections onto an idea of God that they'd heard about via direct revelations. But, I keep checking my hair because that's the kind of vain infidel that I am. God, give me a full head of hair. Lucifer didn't. Gave everything to Lucifer, and he didn't even give me a full head of hair. Have that on a t-shirt. And then he said that. Alright, well, what's the difference between waffle and meaty, meaningful transmission? I'm not sure I even know. Insight, I suppose. When I have an insight, when I have a profound insight, and then share it with you all. So, I've been working on Homo Serpiens Redacted. It's not going to have swaths of black ink, not literally going to redact passages, but I will be removing large passages and replacing them or filling those holes with commentary on what remains, which will also be rewritten. Analysing and examining how I was unwittingly hooked into a memeplex that I was attempting to help build. And one of the aspects of that was the New Age scientific view of God as energy and God as man, man as God. Now that the edifice of delusion, and to a certain degree the one world religion and the new world order, the sort of machinery of Antichrist, if we're going to call it that, is close to being visible in a way it wasn't 10 years ago. And so I was speculating and imagining the form it might take, and now I don't have to, and now I can see the form it's taking. It's very clear that it's a fundamentally anti-religious mindset. It's a secular religion of scientism, which does allow for God in the sort of quantum mechanistic sense of energy, but this is a very impersonal force within the universe which is somehow subject to man's will. So it's an occultist view of God. God as an energy that can be harnessed. Well, that seems at first pass to be a lot more rational if you think of God as an impersonal energy that has no volition and even no sort of personal consciousness or intent of its own. That seems a lot closer to the idea of some transcendental infinite being than obviously the Christian idea of a beardy guy on the clouds with a penis and genitals. And yet when you get to the point where you're seeing how this knowledge is applied, it becomes more obvious that actually it's not. Sorry, I don't believe it. As I say, having seen where that's ended up, what it's ended up is that God is the Word and reality is spoken into being by the Logos, in a secular world in which God is a word that can be wielded by man and changed and tweaked and recalibrated according to man's own whims and desires. This is cis man or non-cis man, or who man with a penis, or whatever you care to identify yourself as. Then what happens is we have this ideological mishmash of neoliberal politics of diversity, in which people are literally using language to redefine reality. Perhaps literally isn't the word there. They're literally believing that they can do this and imposing social restrictions, such as on Mr. Jordan Peterson, now man of the hour, if not the millennium, to do it. A totalitarian dictatorship of language.